Welcome to Cour's Bad Opinions Hour, the show that is neither an hour long nor about bad opinions, maybe. If you disagree with me, then you're just making the show correct, so thank you for that. This is my show where I will talk about whatever tabletop-related topics I so choose. 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons has a healthy amount of standard weapons listed in the player's handbook, but not all of them were created equally. Today I'm going to be going over some of the more seldom selected weapons and ways that you can make them useful, if any. We're going to kick things off with the lance. Now, lances are the big old jousting poles that you'll see, people in a tournament who are jousting using. It's a long, pointy stick that you hold up while you're riding a horse and jab people with. Now, the interesting thing about lances is that mounted combatants only need one hand to wield them. Whereas if you're not on a mount, it requires two hands because it's a big old stick. And because you actually got to thrust it, I guess, is the intention there. Whereas when you're on a horse, all you have to do is hold it up so that it hits them when your horse runs into them, I guess, is the intention there. It does as much damage as a great axe, which is 1d12 piercing damage. It has a plus 5 foot reach, which means you can attack things that are 10 feet away from you. And you have disadvantage on attacks against targets within 5 feet of you, which makes some sense because it's a long pole and you're kind of holding one end of it. And it'd be kind of hard to I imagine. I've never actually fought anyone with a lance before. It is notably one of the 2 reach weapons in 5th edition in the handbooks that does not have the heavy quality. One interesting thing that snuck past me on my first couple read-throughs of the player's handbook is that the lance doesn't actually have the two-handed quality. It actually has a special quality that dictates when you aren't mounted, you have to use 2 hands. Which is where we get our little foothold to breaking the lance and making it cool. All right. Now, lances, I don't see lances a lot in play, and I think that's probably connected to the fact that I don't see a lot of mounted combat in play. I don't know if that's just the games I've been in, but I don't see a lot of mounted combat, and maybe fixing that would make the lance seem a little bit of a better option. But the other thing that makes the lance a really fun option is if you are mounted, you can take the dual wielder feat and have 2 lances. Rules as written, 2 lances, which means bonus action, second lance attack, extra 1d12 of piercing damage, you're welcome. It would look really freaking weird to be a guy riding a horse and have 2 lances and you're just like jabbing at people. It's hilarious though, and I really want to make a mounted combat character with 2 lances now, just because it can do that, just because I'm allowed to. All right, next up are nets, and nets are okay. I actually have had a couple characters with nets. Especially in seafaring campaigns, it makes sense to have a net just because you can also use it for fishing, or it just stylistically fits to have nets in, like if I'm a pirate or I'm fighting pirates. I feel like nets fit in there a lot. Here's the main problem with nets. First off, it only works on boring things, and by boring things, I mean small things. It has to be large or smaller. If it's a small enough creature, I'm sure that most DMs would be like, yeah, the pixie can kind of just fly through the holes. It's not a very fine net. Additionally, creatures that are formless, so all your gelatinous cubes and your gray oozes and your black puddings, just kind of laugh at. Actually, they'd probably just eat them. The gelatin, the slime men. Additionally, they're really easy to break out of because it's a DC 10 strength check or 5 slashing damage, and it's got an AC of 10. It's not hard to break out of nets. They only have a 5 foot effective range because of 2 things. Well, first of all, the actual range things, it's thrown and it has a range of 5 effective range of 5, which means 5 without being at disadvantage, but like maximum range of 15. So you can do it up to 15 feet away at disadvantage, but it's a ranged attack. Something people don't really seem to get is that whenever you make a ranged attack within 5 feet of another creature that's trying to kill you, you have disadvantage on that attack. So you technically have disadvantage on all net throwing, which is probably just there to simulate the fact that throwing a net over something that's trying to stab you in general is pretty hard to do. The final thing that makes nets absolutely terrible and practically irredeemable is that you can't multi-attack with them. If you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to attack with a net, you can make only one attack regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make. I suppose this is maybe redeemable if you just have a net at your side and the only time you whip it out is when something's trying to run away from you. You can make a net throw attack as a reaction, provided you have it equipped, like, at the ready, which probably barely even makes it worth it. But if you do succeed, then they're restrained and have a net on them, I guess. The only really way to make nets better is to beg your DM for a magic net, and then it will suck maybe a little bit less. Next up is darts, which are really just cheap daggers. It's literally the same stats as a dagger. I mean, you can stab somebody with a dart. There is no rule that says you cannot stab somebody with a dart, because why wouldn't you? The only difference between a dart and a dagger is darts are piercing, and they weigh a quarter of the weight and come at a much cheaper price. So really, next time you're running a campaign where money is an object, instead of spending 2 gold pieces on a dagger, maybe just buy a dart. Shank people with darts, save money, live better. Wall dart. That was bad. What's next? All right, this is one of my personal favorites next. Slings. Kind of just a bludgeoning damage dagger that you can't stab people with. Like, at least with a dart at melee range, you can just shank them. But with a sling, you can throw a rock at them, and so you've still got that disadvantage imposed. If you get a little creative, slings are actually pretty tasty. There's a few advantages. First off, if you're a little sneaky character, slings are really easy to conceal because it's literally a strap of leather. You can wear it as a belt. You can just tie it around yourself to look cool. You can wear it as a headband. And nobody's going to go, oh, watch out, that guy's got a headband. Probably because people aren't going to be all too concerned if you've got a sling on you either. But still, really easy to conceal. While there are sling bullets, you can literally throw anything with a sling that makes within reason. Like, I mean, if it's just pick up a rock. If you're in a campaign where you have the problem of ammunition, slings don't have that problem. Just pick up a rock off the ground, sling it. Pick up a potion off the ground, sling it. Sling whatever you want to. You can improve slings using the Magic Stones cantrip, which is the cheapest and fastest way to get a magical weapon besides being a warlock, I guess. That's kind of level 1 druid, magic stone cantrip, sling. You're the first person in your party with a magical weapon. Congratulations. Even though magic stone cantrip is actually somewhat better if you just throw the stones. Wizards of the Coast, please fix that. I'm not going to focus on that too much, though. However, what I do want to focus on a whole lot, Arcane Archer. Let me explain. Arcane Archer, what could have been one of the coolest fighter subclasses, is really restrictive in that you have to be an archer, and it specifies, I'm going to look at it right now, I'm going to pull it up. It specifies that you must be firing that once per turn when you fire a magic arrow from a short bow or long bow, etc., etc., etc. Which is dumb, because first off, no magic crossbows, Wizards of the Coast. No arcane dart throwing. Really, Wizards of the Coast? You felt the need to take that out of your game? No arcane slingmen? Wizards of the Coast? For why? But anyways, being all serious here, Any good GM who wants you to have a good time and is okay with having fun at their table will let you do two things, one of which is throw rocks you pick up off the ground with your sling. There's no reason not to let people do that. And for two, Arcane Slingman. If your DM is really going to be picky enough to where they won't let you do the Arcane Archer with all of those features except change anywhere where it says arrow with rock and bow with sling, then just get a whole new Dungeon Master. Throw the old one away. I'm a blow your mind for a second here. Whips are as good as they could be. If they were any better, they'd be broken. Here's why. First off, rogues, whipping people. You can and should use a whip, sneak attack damage from 10 feet away. Cour, you're maybe thinking in a hypothetical sense. Why not just use a bow or throw a dagger or a dart? You already told me darts were good. Why not? Why not do that? Well, for starters, unlimited ammunition. You can whip at people all day. You still got a whip. If you shoot 20 times with a standard quiver load, you'd run out of arrows. Say there's a person right in front of you and then another person kind of to your left who's like 10 feet away from you. You can short sword in one hand, whip in the other hand, stab this guy, whip that guy. You can't do that with a bow. But now the real reason why whips are actually as good as they possibly can be in D&D without being broken. Besides lances, they are the only thing with reach and that does not have the heavier two-handed quality. Dual wielder feat, 2 whips, profit. Why is two whips more effective than, say, a normal person thing like a singular pike? Level 4 fighter with a pike. You get 1 stab. 1d10 damage. That's what happens. You do a 1d10 if you hit them. Maximum of 10 damage. Level 4, you get 1 feat. Assuming feats are in play. If feats aren't in play, get a new Dungeon Master. Sorry. Dual wielder feat, 2 whips, maximum of 2d4 damage, assuming you hit both times. However, since you are attacking twice, the odds of you hitting increase. At most, you're sacrificing 2 damage. If you rolled maximum damage for both of those, assuming you hit all of them, you're giving up 2 damage. Let's take this back a second. I decide I'm Joe, Wizards of the Coast, and I'm going to say whips are not good enough. 1d6 damage now. Now all those cool people like me out there making their characters who are dual-wielding whips get to attack twice for a bonus action at this early level. So I basically, technically, for a bonus action, I get advantage on this attack. And now I'm doing 2d6 damage instead of 1d10. So now my maximum damage is 12, and my average damage is higher. So whips are as good as they can be, and they're actually really good. And whips are fun, and also cool. Do whips. And nays. Bad joke. Moving on. Blowguns. There's a joke to be made here about guns and blowing. Blowguns blow. They also suck. Blowguns are just bad, and you should use them because maybe your character likes blowguns, and maybe that's cool to you, and maybe you've got a good reason. Use bad weapons, because bad characters are fun to watch. This has been Cour's Bad Opinion Hour on Half Dice Will Travel. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like. Tell me how wrong I am in the comments. And subscribe if you want more. And don't subscribe if you're tired of looking at me and listening to me talk. Have a wonderful day. The piece de resistance. I say that a lot in my video. Why do I say that so much? I don't know what the deal is.